We're back one final time today with Governor Walker. Some developments in this, I guess you can call it a trade dispute with Canada. They've changed some of their pricing policies in terms of dairy products that typically go from Wisconsin to Canada. You had dozens of farmers in the state who were wondering if they were going to be able to keep their farms because they didn't have a place to sell their product. Sounds like there's a short-term solution. You've got people stepping up here in the state of Wisconsin to help these farmers, but that's short-term. What does a long-term solution look like?
Well, first I want to say thanks, because whether it's Mullins, who was one of the biggest, but plenty of others out there who stepped up, and a whole group that got together this last month, Ben Brantz, our Secretary of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection, really being at the forefront of physically going through with our farm center and trying to connect people to possibilities, opening up loan guarantees, all sorts of other things out there. But long term, there's got to be a change in policy. I advocated for this almost a year ago with then President Obama's administration, with his trade representative, with the Ag Secretary. Obviously, we've done the same with the president, the current president, and thank God. I appreciate President Trump stepping up and being, I think, much more aggressive than just about anybody thought he would be.
Was
here.
he too aggressive?
No, I think it's great. I mean, long term, I want good trade relations with Canada. Canada is our #1 trading partner, both export and import. I want that all throughout North America, but I believe dairy farmers here, just like timber producers here in Wisconsin, are the best in the world. We can compete with anybody out there, but we need a level playing field. And so when they were artificially lowering the price structure to give an unfair advantage to dairy farmers in Canada, that put our dairy farmers at a disadvantage. That's got to change long term, and I think it will.
So the prospect of, I don't want to say trade war, but I guess that is something that could be on the table. But that has to make you nervous, doesn't it? We've got so many people in this state who ship products to Canada. They're our largest importer.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And I've been there myself before. I'll be there again next year on a trade mission, just like I go to Mexico and other places around the world. But I firmly believe that we've got Canada's attention with this. I believe that they're not going to permanently keep the tariff on timber, but I do believe it's gotten Canada's attention. They're now sending in some of their top cabinet members from Prime Minister Trudeau's administration to meet directly with us. We hadn't had that in the past. We'd only really dealt with the Consul General's office, and so they clearly have President Trump's comments have clearly put this on a priority for Canada, and we think that's good, and we think we can work this out. We want to work this out. We want good trade.
So let's spend the final couple minutes on 2018. Everybody assumes you're going to be a candidate. You are going to be a candidate, are you not, for re-election?
Well, as I've said, I'll make an announcement official after the budget's done. But when I get asked this, when people say you're going to run, I said, well, with more people employed than ever before, why wouldn't I run? With Wisconsin in the top 10 states of people in the workforce, with Wisconsin in the top 10 states for ACT scores, with Wisconsin in the top 10 states for high school graduation rates and for healthcare systems and for people with access to healthcare, you go down the list with all these great things happening. And let me tell you, Mike, I've never been more positive during all my years as governor about the future of the state than I am right now. And so, to me, it's very appealing to say, yeah, I'd like to keep this state on the right track. I'd like to keep us in the right direction. I'd like to do even more to improve the quality of life for every citizen in every part of the state of Wisconsin. I think there's more we can do.
So, would you be the prohibitive favorite if indeed you run? And I mean,
well, if you
based on what you just said about what you feel you've accomplished.
Well, and elections, Tommy Thompson, my good friend, always told me elections are about the future, not just about the past. So it's not just running on a strong record, for which I think it is. When I was on this show, beginning of 2010, the unemployment rate peaked out at 9.2%. It's now down to 3.4%. When I look at all these good things happening, yeah, I think that's probably part of the reason why you have a large number of candidates the last few weeks who said they're not going to run. But the flip side of that is you've got the former president, the former attorney general, and a group out there raising $500 million, $500 million to go after me and 12 other governors this next fall. So I can't take anything for granted. I assume that we're going to have a well-funded opponent if we get in the race. And as it always is here in Wisconsin, it's going to be tough. But I'm excited about the possibility.
Governor Walker, good to have you back on the program. Appreciate your time today. And my interview now with the governor continues on our website, WISN.com, where we're talking about the possible political climate for Republican candidates in 2018. You'll find that on the upfront section of WISN.com. And I'll be right back with a look ahead to next week's program. And for political news throughout the week, be sure to follow me at Mike Goucher on Twitter.